Hello internet, my name's Catherine and it is legitimately 106 degrees outside. Our apartments don't have AC. I'm very sweaty. Wish my hair was up, but it's just not looking cute. But honestly, it's not really looking cute down. So I'm gonna put it up. Okay, so my hair's up in this bun. I kind of look like a boy, but it's fine. Today, I'm gonna be giving you guys some relationship advice. I'm not a relationship expert. I'm a 19-year-old girl, but I just have like seen and been through good relationships, bad relationships, etc. And I think that there's a lot of information that can just be helpful and stuff I just want to remind you guys of. So I wrote some stuff down on my phone and we're just gonna get right on into it. So the first thing that I wrote is that you are whole and complete all on your own. So don't forget about that. You do not need anybody else in your life to be happy. Nobody else can make you happy. The only person who can make you happy is yourself. So other people can add to your happiness, but you can't rely on other people to make you happy. So you have to be able to be happy and confident in who you are, whether you're with somebody or whether you're not. If you are talking to somebody and you're getting mixed signals and you don't really know how they feel, take that as a no. I have learned that in relationships or just like when you're talking to somebody, if they're like back and forth on how they feel about you, then they don't know, and that should be enough of an answer. So you want somebody who knows that they want you. It shouldn't be this kind of back and forth. So if you need to take a step away and be like, no, you're giving me mixed signals, I'm just gonna kind of take that as a no, and then if they start really telling you that they like you, you can make a decision after that. But yeah, take mixed signals as a no. This one I think is super important. It's that not every good person is good for you. And I think that a lot of people are like, oh, like, why'd you guys break up? What happened? Like, as if there always had to be like, oh, they're a horrible human being, or like, I hate them, or they cheated on me. And sometimes people just aren't compatible. Like, yeah, your partner can be really loving and caring and nice and funny and smart, but so it's like the majority of the population. So like, while those criteria are great to have in people, that shouldn't be the reason you love them. Like, just because somebody is a nice, good person doesn't mean that you guys are gonna click together, and that's totally okay. If you are in a relationship or just talking to somebody or whatever, and you're having like any doubts or concerns, you need to express them. I think that talking about things is the best way to work your way through them. A lot of people, I think, will just talk to their friends about problems that they're experiencing in their relationship and not actually talk to their partner about it, and then wonder why the situation isn't fixing itself. It's like, well, that's just not how it happens. Your partner can't read your mind. So if they're not sure why, things are off or not going well, they're not going to be able to fix the situation. So express to your partner how you're feeling if things are off or if things are great. Communication is really important. If you constantly have to tell your partner how to treat you or like remind them of like, hey, I feel really uncomfortable when you do this, this, and this, or like, something like that. And they never seem to get it. It never seems to click. They never seem to change. You can't be upset at the fact that person isn't changing. You just have to realize that you and that person aren't going to be good together. You can't teach somebody how to love you, which I think is a really important thing to learn. If you're telling somebody how to love you, it's probably not the type of relationship you want to be in. I think this is really important. Your self-worth is not defined by whether or not you are in a relationship that is romantic or whatever, or whether you're hooking up with somebody or whatever. Your self-worth has nothing to do with anybody else but you, so having a partner, if that's what you want, can be great. But remember that you are amazing just the way that you are. So yeah. Everybody's timing is different, so don't compare your timeline to somebody else's. If you have a friend who was like met the love of her life at 19 and got married at 24 and like had kids at like 28, and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm like 23 and haven't even had my first kiss, like, don't worry about stuff like that, because everybody's life is different. You all go through different things that affect you in different ways, and you're meant to experience things at different times. So it doesn't mean that you're better or worse than anybody else. It's just the way things happened. What somebody else wants and sees in a person is not necessarily what you're gonna want and look for in a person. And I feel like, you know, sometimes I'd be like, oh, I really like this guy, and my friends would be like, you like him? Like, they'd be really confused and wouldn't get it. And that's totally okay, because yeah, they don't have to like him. I like him or her, or, you know, like whatever. Also, what you want in a person isn't always necessarily what you need in a person, which I think is really important. At like that time in your life, you might want somebody who has like ABC qualities, but you might need somebody who has like XYZ. And it's just kind of how life works out. I think a lot of TV shows, movies, magazines, life around us depicts love as something that is complicated and hard and, you know, a battle and a fight. And love shouldn't be hard. You shouldn't have to constantly be fighting and fixing and, you know, all of that to save a relationship. You shouldn't have to save a relationship. Loving somebody doesn't have to be hard. I am so in love with my boyfriend, and it is so easy to love him. Stop selling yourself short and being like, oh, you know, like, it's worth it. It's worth, you know, the fact that I'm crying 4 days out of the week because I'm happy for 3 of them. And it's like, that just shouldn't, that's not how it should be. You know, you should find somebody someday who makes you happy 7 days a week. And if you guys have difficulties, you sit and you talk about them, but it's not this screaming match, and it's not this, you know, big dramatic event, because that's just not how life should be, honestly. So remember that love shouldn't be hard. If you are with somebody and they are not giving you any reason to stay, for the love of God, leave. I have been in relationships before where I was fighting for something that the other person just wasn't fighting for, and that wasn't my fault or their fault. I kept clinging on to something that wasn't there anymore. And you just have to respect yourself and respect the other person enough to know that, like, if they're not telling you to stay, and if they're not, you know, giving you love and reasons to be there, that is enough of a reason to go and to walk away. And that's just the truth, honestly, because I don't believe that there is only one person in this world to make you happy. There's 7 billion people. You will find somebody someday who makes you so happy if that is something that you want. You shouldn't put up with mediocre love because you're comfortable or you have this fear of being alone. I know so many people who do this because they think, you know, this relationship might suck and I might, you know, be crying all the time or fighting all the time or questioning myself all the time, but at least sometimes I'm happy and sometimes I'm with somebody. And if I were to call this relationship off, then I would be with, you know, I would never be with somebody, and I could maybe never be happy and these things like that. And it's just not, it's not worth it to stay in a relationship that feels, you know, just because you're comfortable, just because it's what you're used to, if you're not happy anymore. You don't have to stay in a relationship just because you feel like you have to stay in a relationship. There's nothing holding you there. You are free to go and leave, and you should if you don't feel happy. Last but certainly not least, be exactly who you are, and you will attract people who love you for exactly who you are. If you're like pretending to like sports, or pretending to, you know, have read all these sci-fi novels, or pretending to, you know, understand other things, you know, because you want to impress somebody, they're gonna end up falling for a version of yourself that isn't actually you. Whereas if you're like, this is me, this is what I like, this is what I do, this is what I know, you're gonna attract people who like those things about you, and you're not gonna have to worry about, like, you know, what show do you have to put on now, who do you have to impress here, and what do you have to like in this scenario. You can just be yourself, and you find people who love you for you, and you love them for them, and that is the most beautiful thing in the whole world, to be able to have that and to know that the person who loves you and every part of you. Obviously, I am a 19-year-old sophomore in college. I do not know everything, but these are some things that I think I can say with pretty strong certainty. I probably should have heard, I have friends who probably should have heard, there's people out there who probably should have heard, and I know a lot of my viewers are younger or around my age, so I just wanted to kind of put this out there. If you guys have any relationship questions, make sure you comment them down below. I also wanted to apologize for the wacky upload schedule that's been happening recently. I've just been so busy, and like, it's been crazy. But once I get back to the States, I promise it will be better. And yeah, that was my video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you give it a big thumbs up and subscribe down below. I make new videos almost every single Saturday. I would love to have you. I hope you guys have a great day, and I love you so much. Bye!